I really believe that we have been taught to think with our brains and limit our beliefs.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
We need to highlight, underline that.
When you have limiting beliefs, you absolutely won't see, feel, or experience anything. It's anything you do. If I feel limited, if I tell myself I can't get up and walk and I limit myself to be able to walk away, I won't walk away. So if you say to yourself, I know they're not there, they're gone, they're on the other side, they're never going to be with me again, you're going to believe that to be your reality.
Susan, this is a dream come true for me, to be honest.
Oh.
You're exquisite, and just thank you so much for making the time to come up here and record with me. It's just an honor, and meeting you in person is very magical, just gotta say.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice. That makes me feel so good. I'm really excited to be here. I was excited to meet you in person too.
Oh, I'm so honored, babe. Before we dive in, can you tell us your astrology? Because my girlies are gonna wanna know.
I'm Gemini,
Yes.
Aquarius rising,
Yes.
and Cancer moon.
And when you walked in, I was like, wait, are you a Cancer? Because your energy is so, and obviously the work that you do is just that intermediary energy, but it makes perfect sense that you're double air water. We'll talk about it.
We have to, because I want to
know.
know all about it, because I don't know a lot about it. I wish I knew more.
Well, you will. Anything you ever want to know, I got you.
Okay, I'm excited.
So you have actually experienced a near-death experience. Are there any pieces of that you'd love to walk us through? Because that's pretty remarkable to meet someone who has actually had an NDE. And I have yet to meet someone who's actually experienced an NDE.
It's pretty, speaking of magical,
Yeah.
it's pretty magical. I was locked in an unplugged freezer in a garage when I was 4.5, tipping on 5. There's such a vast difference between a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old. I always like to say that because we remember things differently. But some boys locked me in there and I had a very profound experience. I was pulled from my body. I don't remember looking back. And I work with children that have NDEs and none of them tell me they remember looking back at their body. And I think it's a fear factor. Wow. Adults do, but most children do not.
Yeah.
Very few. And I saw 3 lights. I was screaming and I saw 3 lights and they said, stop screaming. And I didn't really listen because I was too little and I was frightened. I was really terrified. It was dark because it was unplugged. So, there was no light and I was too little to go through that experience. And then I heard one of them say, stop screaming, quite strongly. And so I did, being a good girl. And then I was pulled from my body. And I call them my angels. They're my angels. And I work with them all the time. And I love them deeply. But they took me on a mind trip. I can't explain it any other way. It was amazing. I call them rooms, but they were more dimensional areas, but better to describe them as rooms. And I was standing at the bottom of this stairway at my first glimpse. And I was looking up and thinking, how am I going to get up there? And the stairway was cracked and broken, but beautiful, like almost Greco-Roman.
Yes.
Type energy. And there was this room, and I knew that there was a circle inside this room. And I didn't know why I needed to be near the circle, but I knew I did. And the moment I thought it, I was there. And I was watching like DNA moving in this funnel I called it the well, which is interesting because I worked under Raymond Moody, or studied under him, excuse me. And he said to me, did you ever think that the well was your tunnel? Because I kept saying, I never saw a tunnel. Why didn't I get to see a tunnel? Everybody else saw a tunnel. What happened to me? And he said, I think that was your tunnel. Wow. And I thought, oh, that makes total sense because it went really deep and it was infinite. Hence the name of the book, Infinite. And I saw like DNA moving. And at the time I didn't understand that, but it was all twisting together, but it was prayers. And I heard someone say, I'm going to turn 16. Please God, make my dad get me a car. He says, no, I want one, or make my mom, and then I'd hear things like, my mom's sick. God, please don't let her die. And all these different energetic pulls. And it was all one consciousness. And I don't know how to describe that except to say it was like one giant space of knowledge and knowing. and it all intermingled together. And I asked, where am I? They said, you're in the room of heart's desires. And I said, do you answer all those? And they said, no, Susie, sometimes what people desire the most isn't good for them. And they proceeded to take me to different places. One was the room of knowledge, and that was where we do our contracts. And they were people saying, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to experience this. And they were saying, that's a little much. I really don't encourage that. And they'd just push. And they'd say, well, you do have free will. And then they'd be gone. And the other one that I saw was this beautiful yellow brick road. It was vast and infinite, and it stretched way out. And it was golden pavers. And in the front of it were pyramids. And they were golden pavers. It was built by golden pavers. And I watched humans literally go in and start pulling from the bottom of these pyramids and starting to pave their path. And it was bumpy and crooked and out of whack completely. And they were dropping to their knees and saying, please, help me for the love of God. Nothing's going the way I need it to go. And they were suffering, and I could feel that, but not in a pain way. I could feel it in a beautiful spiritual way, that this was their lesson kind of feeling, even though I didn't understand that. I wasn't in pain. And I watched these angels come in and start pulling the pavers off and removing them and putting them back to the bottom of the pyramid, and then going to the top and pulling the pavers and starting to pave the path. And I asked, what are you doing? And they said, we are the pavers, you are not. All you have to do is walk it. And I asked, how do you know if you're walking it right? Like a precocious 4-year-old. And they said, because we bless and block everything. Make no mistake. You can get through a block battered and bruised at best, or you can shift. And you can shift again if there's another block. And at some point, you'll see us paving your path. What you try to control controls you, and what you run from chases you. Don't ever forget that on your journey. I remember this the same way somebody asked me one time, how do you remember this so well? And I said, it had a huge impact on me. If anybody's watched The Wizard of Oz, like just as an example, we remember the ruby slippers, even though we were little tiny. We remember Dorothy on the, yellow brick road. We remember all those things. And I had seen The Wizard of Oz, so it had a very strong impact on me. So I kind of likened it to that as I was walking this journey. Ultimately, I ended up just rather quickly, because it's a long, long story. I was in there a long time. I ended up going into this field. It was a room, a dimensional room, but it was a field with dandelions and daisies, like colors I've never seen before, beautiful flowers I can't describe. I can only get as close as what I just shared. And I looked, there were animals everywhere, and it was, where the animals go, it's our companions, And I looked to my left, and there was this mountain. And there was this being on the mountain, and I'm sure many more than one, but one particular being caught my attention quite profoundly. And I felt this immediate draw, like I needed to be up that mountain, but I couldn't. I couldn't get up it, and I knew that. And I felt this love that I had never, it was exquisite, it was magical, it was amazing. And here I am in the room of companions, and in this field, or the dimension of companions, I don't know how else to say it, and this beautiful field, yet I'm looking at this being. It's emotional. And I couldn't get to it, and I felt this ray of love come into my center. And at that moment, it was nothing I've ever felt, and I've never felt it here. And at that moment, I was everything, and I was nothing, and I was perfect. And it was just a flash, just long enough to really remember it deeply. And then I was with angels walking me, telling me it was time to go, and they explained to me I'd go through the water, and I was walking next to a creek, and they dropped me in, basically. I stepped in, and my mom was hearing, your baby's in the freezer. the whole
Because
time.
she just heard the voice, right? It wasn't a human voice. It was a message for her.
Yes. And on the other side, I remember talking to my mom. I think that was my first lesson in developing my mediumship. Because I remember talking to my mom and saying, I'm in the freezer, Mommy. And I could see her move, but she wasn't responding. But she said she heard it 3 times. And the last time it was like a scream. She ran outside. Oh my God, my baby's in the freezer. And the garage door was closed because the boys closed it. So she thought, well, Susie can't open this. And she almost walked away. And then something told her to open the garage door.
Oh my God.
And she went into the freezer and I was there facing inward. And I was ashen and blue and fingertips. And she ran to get help and I fell. She dropped, they didn't have cell phones and all that then. So she ran to go call somebody. And I fell and I hit my chin and cracked it open and I took a breath. And when I got well, which was some time later, I opened my eyes. And the first time I opened my eyes, I saw spirits and I closed my eyes. The second time I went back to sleep. And the second time I woke up, I could see spirits everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
I thought they were the boogeyman. I'm going to be honest. I would cover my head and say, go away, go away, go away. But I got used to it. It became my abnormally normal journey.
Because you were so young.
I was, and I didn't really understand. I could hear them talking to me, but I couldn't make out the words. I saw them more than I heard them, and I knew they were there. Now I know they're there, and I don't need to hear them. I know what they're trying to say. But over the years, I remember thinking, they need to go away. You know, they're scaring me, and they would.
Yeah.
But, you know, I used to play in this room. We called it my family called it the creepy room because I played in there and talked to spirits. It was the living room.
Your family was like, this is the creepy room in our house.
Yeah.
And
everybody thought it was creepy.
This was after your NDEs. So you essentially came back and then you just recognized that you could see spirits and you could have this communication. Or was that with you before?
It was with me before.
Really?
So when animals would die, I'd see them float, but that was normal. I didn't think anything. It's like if you and I went out in the rain, I wouldn't ask you if you're wet.
Yeah.
Right?
Just know.
I just know you are. And it was the same thing. So it was just a knowing. There was no thought behind it at all. It just was.
Wow.
But looking back, it's the only thing I remember about being about 3 is that experience. Now, my sister and my mom and my brother had this gift to some degree. And so it wasn't completely foreign to me, but they didn't talk about it. You could feel the energies around them.
What role, as you have evolved throughout your life, what role has your mediumship gifts, this ability, your ability to experience what is going on in the unseen, how has this developed throughout your life? Has it become stronger? What
in a
role
different
has it
way.
taken? Yes.
So it's stronger, but it's in some ways it was stronger when I was little because it was so, I could see them so clearly. And now I kind of get the outline because I have the knowing. I don't need that. So clairvoyance is probably the easiest clair, which is clear seeing. And that's what I did when I was a child. I feel like as time went on, I knew I was meant to do something with it as time went on. I understood that. I just didn't know what. So in my teen years, I'm nothing to do with it. I wanted it to go away and stop, and I wanted nothing to do with it. And I would tell people, I don't even want to talk about it. I got married, didn't tell my husband, but I'd wake him in the middle of the night and say, I can go to sleep now because a spirit would visit me. So I'd be frozen because they do that. It's paralysis in a form, and they do it so that you'll pay attention because we'll jump out and go, oh my God, there's something in the room, right? And so they want to communicate. So they do kind of a freezing effect.
I actually love how you just put that because I've experienced that so many times and it's intense. And I always wondered why the paralysis would be present.
Right. It's strictly so that you don't jump up and run or you don't get into your thinking. You can't. You're just present in that moment, in the now. And that's what they create so that they can talk to you and they can let you know they're there. The goal is for you to talk to them.
I want to talk a little bit more about your story, Susan, because grief has been a big part of your life. And you are someone who has played a beautiful role that you don't even know that much yet. I'm going to tell you all about it, especially in this interview. We're going to talk about it. But what an instrumental role you've played in my grief healing. And I really believe so often that the things that we've experienced most, and when our soul knows that that's what we're here to do, is we turn that into the medicine and the way that we serve others. What role has grief played in your life? Anything that you feel comfortable sharing?
An enormous role. So I was abused as a child. I was trafficked in our neighborhood. And that was a very important shadow that was laying on me grief-wise. And I didn't know how to unfold that comfortably or understand it. I mean, there is no comfort to it. I didn't understand it. But as far as actual loss, grief, which that was a loss in innocence, but both of my brothers and my mother died by suicide. My brothers, I was pretty young. I was in my 30s. My mother was just 15 years ago. So that had a profound effect on me. And I really believe that I had a choice. I either let it destroy me or I grow from it and become more because of it, not in spite of it. And I chose that route. I wanted to help people. So I get a lot of people who have suicides in their family or are suicidal, quite honestly. Because I have my doctorate in divinity, but I am a therapist also. And I work with addiction and grief. So when someone's grieving, you know, I understand the grief process. I had a very difficult journey. I was infertile. I was not able to bear children, which was an extremely painful process. I did the in vitros and all those things. I ended up adopting, which was exactly what was meant to happen. But there's a grief behind that. And everything we experience that is a lesson, there's a grief behind it in some way, somehow, even if it's the smallest of grief. But yeah, I have a very strong journey in that. And it has made me more.
Yes.
You know, I'm more compassionate. I'm more forthright. I'm more loving. I'm more connected because of all of it.
You know, for me, moving through the grief of the last year, I did IVF. It didn't work. Lost my daddy, which you and I talked the day after his birthday. And then, you know, I just got divorced. And something I've thought about is how people really struggle to be with those who are in grief. I know very few people who can really be in that intensity. From your experience, what would you say are some things that we can think about and feel into when we're with someone who's going through extreme grief?
One of the reasons why overdoses and cancers and suicides are so terrifying to people, because it's their worst nightmare in their minds, even though it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And we feel like it's going to rub off in some way. We also don't know how to respond. You know, we're going to say something stupid, and you'll see that people move away from you when you're in that kind of grief. You expect them to come forward, and they do the opposite because they don't know how to respond. There is no proper, improper way. It's just a matter of saying, I'm here. You don't have to say anything else. And I think people miss that. And if more people could understand that we're really not looking for any kind of empathy, we're looking for love and something to hold us up, because we want to fall. And sometimes we literally physically do. And we just want someone to share their love and light with us so that we can go forward, even for a moment. But people get uncomfortable with grief.
Yeah.
You know, I hear people say things like, it's been 2 years. And I look at them and go, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Grief decides when it's done with you. You don't decide when you're done with it. And I don't think it's ever truly done. And I tell people, it's in the corner doing push-ups, and that's the truth. It's waiting for you to be vulnerable in the grocery store with a can of beans, and all of a sudden you burst into tears and you don't know why. It's jumping in, and that's the process of grief. So when people can understand that, they're not so afraid of it when you burst into tears. But my goal is to teach people that step into it with them, not meaning that you'll feel the grief, But you can grieve with people without transferring that onto yourself by just being present and holding space.
Yes.
And that's all you need to do. There are no right words, but there are some wrong words. Like, God wanted him more than you need him. Like, you just don't say those things. So it's learning how to just be silent in it with the person that's grieving, and they'll tell you, follow their lead, basically. They'll let you know what they need by the way they're grieving or what they're saying.
God, I love that so much. And just to be in that space of vulnerability, because grief is so vulnerable. And I want to echo that for a moment. It is interesting. I've had that experience before, where before I had these intense things, I would be with someone in really deep grief and just not know what to do and not know what to say because I hadn't had the experience. But then going through the experience, it's made me so much more thoughtful of how to actually be with someone when they're really, really in a big life experience. And we come through to have these experiences. So going back to your NDE for a moment with the pavers, and then I think also when you mentioned the room of knowledge, do you attribute that to like a pre-birth, like when we're planning things, or what's your thought about that?
I think that's one of those are the experiences there. That's what was my take on it. There's many, many more. Obviously, when the angels open their mouths, the words and the music come out at the same time. It's phenomenal. It's something that you can't, it's the only way I can describe it, and it doesn't even touch the surface. But I really believe that the whole process of being connected to the afterlife is beautiful, and we can seat in love and in our souls when we connect to it. What happens in grief is we disconnect, because we're in trauma, and trauma does that, any kind of trauma. But we find that when we do reconnect, we connect in stronger. And that's something to hold on to, that it will come back, and we will feel better, and we will heal in some form, in some way, if we choose to. It is a choice. I know people that never, ever get over or heal or move forward. I don't think get over is probably not a good term, because I don't think we get over it. I think we incorporate it into the landscape of our journey, because we have no other option. But we have grieved from the moment we were born. You think about it, grief is not foreign to us. We think it is, because it's scary to us. For whatever reason, our brains have been taught that it's a scary thing to fear. But we've been grieving since birth. We grieved coming out of the womb. We cry, and we get wrapped in a blanket of love and put in mommy or daddy's arms, and all is well with the world. And when people leave this planet, it's the same thing for them. They fight it. They don't want it. Most, if they're sick or anticipatory grief. And then they get wrapped in a blanket of love, and they are all is right with their world, and so it's very similar. But as we're going through the journey, grief is sitting in front of us in every moment, even the smallest things of mommy taking your blankie away to wash it. I mean, there's sadness and tears and grief and sorrow, and and it goes through the whole journey, and we go through all the stages of grief in that process. So simplified, and of course this is different than a loss, a death, but simplifying it, if I lose my favorite pen that my husband gave me, I'm going to go through all of the stages. I'm going to start out with feeling denial. I know it's here somewhere. I know it. It didn't fall out. I didn't lose it anywhere else. I'm going to find it. And then I go to anger. What did I do with it? How could I be so irresponsible? How did I not take care of it? Then I go to the bargaining. I know I'm going to find it. I know I'm going to find it. If I just did this, if I just did that, maybe this wouldn't have happened. If I would have done this and put it back in its case, all those things, back to anger, back and forth. And finally I get to surrender, right? I get to that place of acceptance where I say, it's not coming back. And I need to accept this and move forward. And maybe I can buy a new pencil. Obviously, we can't do that with life, but it's all the same stages. So we've been doing this from day one.
Yeah.
So it is not foreign. So fearing it, although we fear the pain, and I understand that, once we understand that we do know how to do it, it takes some of that trauma away, some of that panic. Yeah. Because people always say, I don't know how to do this, Susan. I don't know how to grieve. I don't know how to do this. I can't stand this pain. And I tell them, but you do know how. Yeah. So let's tap into your soul source where your memories lie, the ones you need. And let's walk through that to get you to the memory of understanding grief so that you're not so afraid. Because when you remove fear, it helps. My belief is what you fear, you feed. And what you feed, you perceive, and what you perceive becomes your reality. So if you're fearing it, you're feeding it. And as you're feeding it, it's growing and growing and growing. And the goal is to remove the fear and just be where you are right now, where your feet are, literally.
Yes, yes. It made me emotional because it's so beautiful just to remember the universality of that process, because you are so right. It is something that terrifies us. And then when we're in it, that's been a big thing is I think I'm in the bargaining stage right now, and a lot of guilt, and I know my dad, and you told me in our session, what my dad shared through you. He said, do not think of me with sadness and pain, because I do have one memory of at my birthday, just leaving him in his hospital room and just telling myself I had more time with him. That was my story. And that part of that process is so hard.
But honey, losing someone we cannot comprehend the impact of that. So we do a lot of things to be able to survive it and move through it, including enjoying things.
Yes.
When people are leaving us. That anticipatory grief is very different than losing someone immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And we do believe we have time, and we can't conceptualize that they won't be there.
Yeah.
Even though we know it's coming, we can't take that in.
No, it's
so we do
true.
life
It's
on
so
life's
true.
terms.
It's so true.
And so punishing ourselves for being human and for not being able to comprehend or conceptualize that is not fair to ourselves.
How do you feel that mediumship helps with the grief process?
Tremendously. So even for me, I couldn't talk to my mom for years and years. Mm-hmm. And I went to a medium and she told me my mom was safe and okay, which I knew, but I needed to know. I needed to hear it.
We needed the confirmation.
And I needed that evidential information. Mm-hmm. So she was able to give me some evidence in a really cool way. And it calmed me and it gave me peace, but it also let me remember, or helped me remember, that she's always beside me whenever I need her, that she's always around me. They don't see anything private. They don't read our minds. They're not interested in that. Our human condition is not part of their interest. It's our love. So every time you express love for them, they're stepping in. And they want you to know they're there. They want to be with you the same as you want to be with them. So because they pass away, or cross over is what I like to call it, or pass away to another dimension, however you want to put it, doesn't mean that they don't love you and they don't want to be with you any more than it means that you don't love them and don't want them around. So they're wanting to connect always. And it's the beauty of the afterlife is that they can. They can and they do and they will. But we limit our beliefs so intensely. We're so limited with our brains that we have to go to our soul.
It's so big.
Yes, we have to enter our soul in order to connect.
Mm-hmm. It's just, there was a key moment in the session. And like I mentioned to you, Susan, I'm so grateful that I was able to record it, because when I miss him and I just need that two-way dialogue, because he has fun. He was a Scorpio, so he finds all the ways. And I'll remind you, this session, you said water, water, water. Why am I seeing water? And I was like, well, he was a Scorpio. And you're like, yes, this is so funny. And when I looked back at all the photos I posted of him, he's with water in every single one. He's with the ocean. He's with a river. He's like somewhere with water. And whenever I go back and listen to that session and the beautiful evidence you brought through, it brings me such a peace to know that I know there always is a two-way conversation, but that's the gift of mediumship, is to have that evidence. And actually, I want to back up for a second. For anyone who isn't super familiar with what evidential mediumship is, can you explain that to us a little bit?
Yeah, I say keep it simple.
Yeah.
So a good medium is going to give you evidence of their existence. Maybe it's the last conversation you had. Maybe it's their name, along with, I want to clarify this, not just their name, along with their personality. It's very important. Your relationship with them, maybe how they crossed, what they loved in life. That is evidence, and those are evidential energies that we can give that allow you to understand that they're actually speaking to us. Without that kind of evidence, we can go to anyone and, if I'm, going to be 66 in a month. So just an example, pretty sure my mom's probably on the other side. Unless she had me at 10, right? Yeah. Not definite, but pretty sure. So if somebody said to me, your mom's here and she says she loves you, that is not evidence.
Yes.
Right? But if they said your mom died this way, your mom said these things to you, your mom called you her angel on earth, those things are evidence for me. And so I'm grasping that, or your mom loved the ocean, or whatever it is, that makes sense to me. That resonates. And then I can accept that they're actually in connection. That is one of the most healing mechanisms for grief that exists. Because when you recognize that they're not gone forever. You're going to see them in the likeness you understood them in this journey and this space and time. What a peace that can bring to your soul. And to know that you can talk to them and they will respond, and to learn how to do that. They talk to all of us, but we say things like, that's what I think they'd say. And then we push it away. And the goal is to say, thank you for that message, right or wrong. Once they know that you're going to listen in that way, that particular way, guess what? They're going to come that way. So you can't be wrong. And that's so empowering. And it's so peace. It gives me this sense of soul peace, of knowing that they're never going to be away from me. No more than I want to be away from them do they want to be away. So I know they'll always be there when I need them or want them. And they know that better than me.
The most beautiful, all the evidence you brought through for me, and I needed it then because it was only, maybe a month and a half after, 2 months. And I remember one thing that you brought through that was just so funny is you were like, birds, not just one bird, all the birds. And that was his thing at the beginning, is like, my brother sees a hawk, I'm hearing owls. Like the hawks are a major thing, but birds, there was a blackbird that always came into the yard, and I talked to my dad, and then there'd be this bird. So when you said birds multiple, I just burst out laughing. And I think that's such a gift too of mediumship, is there's humor, there's levity. What are some even if you just recall something that has come through so special in a session? I know you've done so many, but is there one story that you have that was pretty remarkable around a sign, or just something where someone got just, I don't know, totally blew their mind, or just anything that stands out to you?
I had a mother who lost her little girl, and she was devastated, obviously, and it's even hard for me to talk about now, but it's so powerful. And we did the whole reading, and her little girl was talking to her the whole time. And she was believing, she believed the evidence, and her little girl was saying things, and she'd say, oh, yeah. When she got up to leave, I said, stop. And I started singing a song that I had never heard. I think they made it up, And the mother looked at me and literally said, all I asked, if she was truly with me, for her to sing this song. And she dropped, just in gratitude. And she was laughing, because it was a playful song, a loving song, but a playful song. She was laughing and giggling and saying, oh my God, she's really here. She's really here. It gives me chills still to this day.
So many chills.
She hasn't left me. She's my baby. Oh, my baby, and she was reacting with this intensity. And I thought, this right here, right now, is why I do this. Because I'm going to tell you, listening to grief all day long, and seeing what happens to people in my mind's eye as they show me, and seeing the pain of others that are suffering with grief is not easy.
No.
If I didn't know grief like I know it, through working therapeutically, I probably wouldn't be able to handle it. I say any medium that has not studied grief extensively should not be a medium.
Yes.
Because we don't know what to say and what not to say. And there are things you just say differently or don't say at all.
Yes.
It's not necessary. It's not information someone needs. So you learn the boundaries. But with this mother, it was so powerful. Another one was a group of people that were in my office, and they were going on, and they were laughing and busting up because their friend had passed, and they were really in contact with her, and they knew it. But they always hesitate. And there were a couple of them that I knew did not believe. No matter what I said, didn't matter. I had names and dates and events and everything, and they just couldn't take it in. And as they were walking out, I said, wait, I have one more thing. And I said, I keep hearing this song. These are a few of my favorite things in my head. Do you understand this? Because they work with songs through me, because I was a singer and I love music. And they went, oh my God, that's all we wanted to hear. You could have said that at the beginning and we would have been done. And I said, why is that? Why is that so special? And they said, every Christmas, we would get 5 of our favorite things and we would put them in gifts and pass them to each other. And we'd play the song. These are a few of my favorite things. And and the woman was just standing there with her jaw dropped. Well, my jaw was dropped too. So when that happens, people go, I can't believe you know that. And I think, I can't believe I know that. It's my secret. But I do. I think that, like, how could I possibly know this? And then I have to remind myself that the spirits know this. It's not about me knowing it or not knowing it. It's just they give it to me and it comes out of my mouth.
What is your take, Susan? Because this is something that fascinates me about the other side. And I'm curious your perspective. I feel like some people, because our sweet little left brain just wants the mechanics of everything. This is so cute of us. But it's like, what do you feel? And what is your perspective on like the overview that a soul has for the message we need to hear? Or does that make sense? Like how they choose to like send certain signs? Like how does that work?
It's energy.
Right?
It's that simple. We complicate it. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But it's simple.
Yeah.
And it's simple for them, not easy. And I really want to clarify that, because when we ask them for a sign, we might have to wait 2 or 3 weeks for them to figure it out.
Totally.
But it's simple for them to do once they get it.
Yes. The communication piece.
The reason they use animals and creatures is because they are living things and they have an energetic pull that's strongest.
Yes.
Right? And
Wow.
I mean, a dog,
Wow.
the dog looking in the corner, barking at something that's not there, that's actually there, and going over to the corner as this, they're going to get a bone or something, and what are you doing? They have the ability to maneuver the energy or to tap into the energy of living things. In the afterlife, everything is alive, even the grass. It's pulsating at all times, everything. So it's different there. But here, we have inanimate objects,
Yes.
But animals and creatures are really animated. And so they can use that.
Oh my God, just the way you put that just so simply makes a world of sense to me. And I hope it does for you angels listening too, because I think there is a part of me, no matter how mystical, no matter how spiritual, I still have a very strong desire for evidence and strong. It's why, I was like, I need to see Susan because I need to know that my dad is alive still, wherever he is in the universe. I just need to know. And I think there's a really real part of all of us while we're here on this plane that just needs to know.
It's interesting. People ask me, why doesn't the spirit world just let us know so that we don't suffer? Well, our hardest, most difficult, painful experiences are our deepest growths.
Yes.
We don't grow without it. And I really believe that if we absolutely knew, we wouldn't want to stay here.
Yeah.
Right? And we need to be here to grow and expand. So, someone like me, I struggled with wanting to leave here till I was 38 years old. I did not want to be here. And sometimes I still do. I go, God, I just don't belong here. Especially when I hear of something bad going on in the world that causes me pain.
Yes.
But what I know is that I'm meant to do my journey and learn from it. I say pain is our greatest motivator for change, and pain and joy are equal in value in that pain, they both teach us something. And in fact, I really believe the pain has taught me more. So knowing that changes the landscape for me of what I'm going through. And believe me, I'm like everyone else. I've gone through a lot a lot.
Yes.
So, and I don't wear that like a badge, but I wear that like with some like, wow, Susan, you're really brave.
Yes.
And I'm proud of that bravery of going through the processes I've gone through. And, as I get older, I recognize, wow, that was a lot.
Yeah.
And why did I sign up for the PhD in hardship? What's that about? And some of us just do, but when I meet people who have never been through anything, I have two feelings. One is I feel bad for them because I know that when they do go through something, it's going to be devastating.
Yes.
They won't know how to handle it.
Yes.
So every process we go through that's difficult teaches us how to handle the big things. So I'm grateful for that I know how to handle things.
Yes.
But I also have this thought, they don't have a lot to share in the depth, in the soul area, because they haven't experienced enough, not because they're not good enough, because they are more than good enough, but because they haven't experienced enough. And I'm a deep talker. I don't do light talk easy at all.
So we're going to hang out.
Yeah. I mean, it's not my jam at all. I just like, well, why am I having this conversation right now? And I actually get quiet. So, and that I notice, I can tell by somebody who can talk really deep that they've done many lifetimes and had a lot happen in those lifetimes.
Susan, I have like 20 different directions I want to go in just because I have you, but I want to really get into like signs, the ways that angels communicate with us, the way that spirits communicate with us. But before we move down that path, what is a message that you have for anyone listening who feels like, yeah, this has been a really hard life? And what like reminder can you, from the soul level, can you speak into them?
Yes, it's been a hard life. And I understand that, and nobody really wants that. But what you've done with it is amazing. You have created, I hope, a love base and a beauty internally because of what you've been through. Do we want to repeat it? No, but if I took all of my pain and put it in the center of the room, and you took all of your pain and put it in the center of the room, I'd take mine back.
Yes.
I wouldn't take yours.
Yes.
I take mine because I understand it and I know what it's offered me. And most people will say that, no, I don't want pain I don't understand. I want mine. I can go through that. So every experience you have, good and difficult and traumatic, is an opportunity to become more and grow and recognize that you are based in love. Love is the highest vibrational energy that exists. Nothing is higher. And our goal is to learn to love ourselves. And through these tragedies, when you recognize the power of you and the empowerment you carry to manage through that, through these horrible traumatic events, the more you learn to love who you are. And I believe our real bottom line soul path, not life path, but soul path, is self-love. And it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. And it is the highest vibration. And what is the goal here? It's to vibrate high as we can, to get on the other side, do it again, vibrate higher, do it again, vibrate higher, until we can blend back with the highest vibration in existence, which is, the afterlife.
What a process.
Yeah.
God, that's such a gorgeous reminder. What do you say to someone who perhaps has lost someone and they feel like they're not getting signs or they don't feel them? This is something I hear a lot.
Me too.
What do you say to someone who feels like they want to connect, but they just feel like they're not getting a signal?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things. One I want to say is a lot of them say to me, my father or my brother or my sister, or whoever it is, went to my best friend and they had a dream, but I didn't. Why didn't they come to me?
Yeah.
It's because your grief is the lowest vibrational energy outside of hate.
Wow.
Love is the highest, grief is the lowest. So you're blending this high love energy with this low grief energy. I have in my book, I write about this. I call it the sloth, the butterfly, and the hummingbird. And I love sloths, so I want to say that for anybody who loves them.
Yeah,
however, they appear to be low vibration, so it's a great analogy. The sloth moves extremely slow and appears to vibrate very, very low in energy. The butterfly butterfly is halfway there, right? And I call a medium a butterfly. So the griever is the sloth, the medium's the butterfly, and the hummingbird is the spirit. By the time the sloth has moved its head and want to see the signs or allowed its thinking to turn off to experience the signs, by the time it moves, it's so moving. That hummingbird's gone to a million places and they're gone, right? They're gone doing something else. And so they miss it. We also, and of course the medium is in between, so we get some of it. We're not vibrating as high as the hummingbird. We just get some of it. That's what makes it so powerful. And it lifts that sloth energy up, into a higher vibration because, oh, they love me. They're still here. They saying these wonderful things. You can feel your vibration rising. Then they can start coming. But the expectation that you're going to just move right through that and have your energy be high enough for them to bring you the information is a little too much to ask of yourself when you're in grief. And also, I really believe that we have been taught to think with our brains and limit our beliefs.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
We need to highlight, underline that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you have limiting beliefs, you absolutely won't see, feel, or experience anything. It's anything you do. If I feel limited, if I tell myself I can't get up and walk and I limit myself to be able to walk away, I won't walk away. So if you say to yourself, I know they're not there, they're gone, they're on the other side, they're never going to be with me again, they're dead. That word, they're dead.
Oh my gosh.
You're going to believe that to be your reality. And we also have a fear base. We've been taught to be fearful of death and loss. And so the fear gets in the way. Fear gets in the way of a lot of things.
Yes.
That we we also are calculators, right? We're analytical. We have a brain. The goal is to step into your soul source and ask your soul, what can I experience to know they're there? And then allow that in and not limit it. So instead of saying, that's what I think they'd say, you say, thank you. Thank you for the message. And you do that over and over and over. And before you know it, but I'm going to give you a tool and your readers a tool to connect in. It's called awareness, acceptance, and action. And I made this up with spirit. You become aware something's changed in the room. Like I've been seeing sparkles next to you on the left side. Your father's there. And I'm aware of it. And I became aware of it. And the minute I did, he became aware I was aware. So now he's going to do it more, isn't he? And then accepting it. I accepted this is your father. And he knows I accepted that. And so he stayed. He's staying and he's like, she sees me, she knows I'm here, she's accepting it. And then action, and action is just trust. I trust that your father is here so that I can hear his messages, which is, by the way, he's very proud of you and he loves you beyond measure. Loves you so much.
I miss him so much. I've talked to him because this is a dream for me, having you here, and just this week is special for me. And I thanked him yesterday in the morning. So I was like, since you've been gone, I feel like I've had, some loss around my relationship, but there's been so many positives in my life. And I just trust that you are guiding beautiful things and beautiful people.
That's it right there.
And just
trust.
Thanking him so much. So I love that. And as soon as you said that, I got this really unique, it wasn't even a chill. It was just, it felt like a very unique sparkle on my left, knee.
He's been sparkling. Here's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
You have a child who comes up to you, you're on your cell phone and you're cooking and stirring spaghetti.
Yeah.
And the child starts pulling on your pant leg, mommy, mommy, mommy. And you're so engrossed in what you're doing that you're not responding. What will the child do? The child will walk away and go sit down and forget the connection, right? And when you go and ask, oh, I'm so sorry, honey, I wasn't listening, 20 minutes later, what did you need? Never mind, I already did it, or I forgot. So think of the spirit as a child. They're pulling on us, they're tugging on us, they're playing with our hair, they're poking us. I've had times where I go, stop, because I can feel the poke.
Literally.
And it's crazy. And everyone looks at me and I think, oh my God, what did I just do? But by the time they recognize it, the spirit has gone, okay, they're limiting their beliefs right now, so I'll try later.
Oh, wow.
And so that's part of it too.
What is one of the most powerful metaphysical or paranormal, if you could pick one that you've personally experienced in your life?
I was just talking about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I've had two, and I don't know how to pick one. My brother pulled me out of my body and took me back to the yellow brick road. But I really believe my sister-in-law, who I loved very much, got a brain tumor, and she passed young. And I had called the hospital, and I understood, I worked in labs and hospitals, so I understood when they told me her stats were really good, and she had a ways to go, like days or weeks. And I said, okay, and hung up the phone. And 15 minutes later, I felt her blend with me. She went through my body like nothing I've ever felt. It was overwhelming love. And I knew it was her. I could feel her, sense her, smell her, experience her. And she was literally blending with my soul. And she went up and she said, I love you, goodbye. And I started crying, and everyone said, why are you crying right now? And I said, my sister-in-law just died, my friend. And they said, no, you just called the hospital. And I said, I'm telling you, she left. She left. She's on the other side. I felt her go through me, and they thought I was nuts. And I got a phone call. My father worked at the same place. He actually owned it. And he called me up to his office, and I walked in the door, and I said, Aaron died. And he said, Aaron died.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And my brother it's another one. I mean, I was just downstairs. Everything was fine. It was my birthday, and I heard Susan. And he used to do that. Susan, I go, stop it. We'd have these little fights. And I heard that, and I ran upstairs, and I got under the covers with my husband, and I don't know what this is. It scared me. And then the next day, he was standing beside my bed, and I thought he was there to hurt me. That's how much I wanted to reject it. And I was like, go away. And they don't come to hurt us. And I know that logically, but it was a shock to me because I didn't know anything was going on. The third night, he was at the end of my bed, and he literally reached out with his metaphorical hand and pulled me from my body. And he took me on a tour of his, I got to see his life review.
Oh my God.
And he showed me a garage where my mom and dad were, and they were arguing over his behavior. And then he was saying to me, I never have to feel that way again, and I can do this differently. And he was taking me to places, and I ended up on the yellow brick road with him, and he was sharing with me and telling me he's never going to be gone. He's going to help me with my gift, which he does. Everyone feels him. That's a medium. And all my students feel him. And without knowing this story, by the way. And then I said, have you seen God? And he said, I have to go. And I said, wait, have you seen God? And he said, honey, I have to go, but I want you to know it was not your fault. And I didn't know what he was talking about. Then I was just like dropped into my body, and I looked at my husband and woke him up, and I said, I can go to sleep now, which I always do. And he said, good, go to sleep, because he didn't know what was going on. I didn't want him to know, and so.
He didn't know yet about your ability.
He didn't see me read until 5 years ago. I wouldn't let him. I know, it's crazy. And the next morning at 10 o'clock, I got a call that my brother had died 3 days earlier on my birthday.
God.
He took his life.
Susan, was this the brother whose wife had the brain tumor?
That was another brother that did the same thing 3 years later.
Gosh, so on your birthday, you got the first sort of clairaudient message, essentially. Yes. And then he came 2 more times.
Yes, until I accepted it. And I didn't really accept it. He just was insistent and pulled me. I remember feeling myself leaving my body and thinking, what's happening right now? Because I was awake. I'm always awake when they come.
Did you feel like you were in a dream state, or you were just moving through?
I was just there. Wow. It was familiar to me.
Yes, yes.
So, other people had taken me to similar things, but not like this. And, I'm going to say this, which is really shocking me right now. I had an aha moment sitting here talking to you because I never recognized until just now that he went through his life review with me. It's the weirdest thing because I've always said, he showed me this and he showed me that. And I got to see, the things that he experienced on this planet. but I never put those words to it.
Wow.
And never connected the dots until this moment. So I'm in a little bit of shock right now. I got to go through his life review with him. As what a gift.
Yes.
And thank you, Terry. But I didn't know it till just now.
Did he have like a stature? Like, was he like a broad?
That was my other brother.
Okay. Because I'm feeling
my brother Terry
larger.
was kind of 5'10", if you want to call that short. I don't call it short. I'm 5'3". And he was gorgeous. He was gorgeous. Just a handsome, handsome man who went through a tremendous amount of trauma.
Yeah. Were either of them military or anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
Like crew cuts. It kind of looks like that to me.
Oh, that's
Short
my
hair.
Uncle Tom.
Okay. Crew cut?
Or it's my Uncle Jack who was murdered.
Oh, wow.
He comes a lot.
Wow. Yeah, stature and like that's all I'm seeing right now. Stature and like crew cut is the feeling.
That's probably my Uncle Jack.
Okay.
He's around a lot.
Yeah, protector energy.
Yeah. He was actually a gunnery. And he was in the bottom of the planes in World War II.
Oh my God.
And he was highly decorated. And his stepson murdered him.
No way.
I've been through a lot, and
Susan.
so has my loved ones. But
such a journey.
But
what a line to come through to heal.
yes,
Because I see that too. Or just this is always, I wouldn't say always, but as I've learned about this stuff, when the lines we choose. So for you to come in on this line and to heal so much, strong soul. Like so
I want your
powerful.
readers to know that their soul is the vine to the divine.
Mm.
And that it never gets damaged. It feels the pain, but it never gets damaged. And it's the one place they can go to always go to heal. It is their healer mechanism that was offered by Spirit, and it is pumped full of Spirit energy always. No matter how broken we feel, it is always being revitalized, kind of like the pavers on the path that recreated themselves as they pulled them off.
I want to talk about your book, Infinite Life, Infinite Lessons. Can you talk to us? Like, why did you write this book?
I have no idea. Okay, so I was in my kitchen. This is just truth. I was in my kitchen and I heard you need to write a book. And I went, are you crazy? I don't write. I don't even journal. And they said, no, you need to write a book. It's time. And I called Megan, my manager, and said, I need to write a book and I need to put some things aside. And she's like, what? Panic sets in, right? And I said, I need to write a book. And I sat down and Spirit channeled through me all about my journey, all about pain and suffering and love and light, all about the afterlife, the pure love of them, what it's like on the other side, where your loved ones are, you name it, it's in here, grief and how to walk through it, mediumship and how to do it. And it's simple. It's not hard. And when I got done, it was 3 weeks. I had a literary agent. I didn't even know I was going to have one. And within 2 weeks, Hay House bought my book. It was a miracle because I was not an author. It just doesn't happen that way. There are people that wait their whole lifetimes. And I was so blessed to have that happen. And it just went international. So I'm really excited. Went into Turkey and Spain and some other places. And I get calls from people all over the world that tell me this book saved their life. And I think, and they tell me they've read it 9 times. They just keep reading it because it saved them. And I think, oh my God, Spirit did a good job. They did a really good job.
You're a good listener, Susan. You're in your kitchen. You're like, okay. And they're like, we will move. We will move through you. What is like one of the most powerful takeaways you want someone to receive from the messaging of this book?
That you are love and you are loved. That there is nothing that loves you more than them. Nothing. And that they are waiting for you and that they'll be there to help you.
I have just a personal question because I'm curious about this. What do you see as the difference between angels and spirit guides?
Well, spirit guides boss you around.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I feel
Spirit
that.
guides have been on this planet. They know how to guide you because they've been here.
Yes.
And they'll say, what are you thinking? Don't turn down that road. You know, they're on your shoulders, kind of like the good cop and the bad cop, right?
Yeah.
And they're the bad cop. And then the angels are the good cop. The angels are pure love, pure love. And what you feel is a rush of energy when they're in the room of love. It's like a whoosh that comes over you. And they might say, oh, sweetie, you don't want to do that. They're very gentle in their nature, where a guide might slap you around a little bit. That's how I pay attention, you know, and a guide's going to help you learn the lesson, where an angel is going to help you heal the lesson.
Yeah. Susan, you are such a gift. And I'm like mesmerized sitting here listening to you. Like, I don't even want this to end right now.
I know. You know, it's because we're connected to spirit right now. They're here.
Yes, I feel it. It's like, and I can only hope that my beauties who are listening feel what we're feeling right now, because to be in this remembrance, like, to me, the feeling I'm experiencing in this moment and really this whole interview is like remembrance. And it's such a space of centering. Yeah. It's so centering.
It's like I know I'm breathing heavy, but that's what it feels like a whoosh, a gentle, easy breeze.
Yeah, spacious.
And that's spirit. That's what spirit feels like. It's for everyone who doesn't know. Yes. It is pure love.
And what did the other side feel like for you?
The other side?
Yeah.
What did it feel like?
Yeah.
Oh, miraculous.
Yeah.
I visit, you know, because I can. And so
I want a Cancer moon my next life.
I love that. I need to know more about that.
I'll tell you all the things, especially what you described with, you know, your brother. And like I mentioned to you, the Gemini and the Aquarius, especially Gemini, Mercury ruled. It's writing, it's being the intermediary. Mercury is very mediumship, which I never used to think of it that way, because I'd always think of water signs as the mediums. But no, the Cancer moon is very, like, it's just deeply attuned. It's deeply receptive. So the boundaries of time and space are loose with especially Cancer moon. It's very nebulous and feminine and just attuned.
I love that.
So for you to have that experience, I'm just like, that is all I could think was like, that I want a Cancer moon next time. It sounds amazing.
Just ask him and you'll receive. Right? You can have whatever you want coming here.
We're making the plan, right? Well, my love, thank you so much for this. Where can my angels find you? How can they connect with you?
SusanGrau.com on all social media. Or excuse me, Susan Grau Official, SusanGrau.com for my website. I have an Infinite Soul Sanctuary. That's a subscriber site for people who want to know everything spirit. And I go on and teach once a month and bring guests onto it. And my book, you can get it anywhere books are sold. So, you know, Hay House makes the money off the book. I'm just going to be honest. I don't, you know, I'm pretty like, but I really want to encourage people who are grieving or afraid of grief or want to understand the afterlife to get the book. It will make a huge impact on you. And it's so inexpensive to learn so much that I really want to encourage it. It's not a sale. It truly isn't. I just know it will help them. And that's what it's for, is to help people.
Yeah, such a tool. Well, we'll have everything linked in the show notes, and I just can't thank you enough for who you are and the soul that you are. And thank you so much for helping me with my grief process with my dad. And I just appreciate you and just honor you so much. So thank you for coming today.
I feel the same. And thank you for having me. This was wonderful.
Yes, thank you so much. I love you guys. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.